Hi chums, some time ago I mentioned doing a video about my car buying philosophy and I never got round to it, but I'm going to have to do it now because this car is going to be going up the road soon, and I want to tell you how I have bought cars for the past 30 years, maybe about 30 years. Okay, what do we do? This is a Mercedes S320 and it's a lovely car. It does 16 miles to the gallon around town and 23 miles to the gallon on long runs. Now gas here is about $5.90 a gallon for a US gallon, not an imperial gallon. It's $5.90 for a US gallon, so that'll give you an idea of running costs. Now when I was doing mileage in around town, going to see my mother, £20 a week was enough to run this car, but $30 ran this car for a week. But I'm doing much more miles now, and it's getting to the stage where I'm putting about $150 a week into this car, and I could buy a brand new car for that. So that's the direction I'm going. Now, why am I changing my philosophy? What I've always done is, I was going to work one day and I just bought a Mazda 626 2-litre injection. It was a lovely car, a really lovely car, and I was very proud of it. And I pulled up at the traffic lights coming close to work, and there was a car sitting in front of me. It was an old Ford Mondeo, and this car needs a good wash, by the way. And I don't mind people seeing number plate because it's gone up the road anyway, so I don't mind. But it was an old Ford Mondeo, and it said in the back window just here, "This car may be old, but it's paid for and it's in front of you." And I thought, I want that sticker. I want to have a car that's paid for. So that Mazda was the last car I ever bought on the drip or on finance. And from then on I saved up, and every month I put aside whatever a car would cost. And then when I needed to change, I had the money sitting in my car fund. I was able to go and buy a car for cash. And then I started saving again. Now it's basically the same as paying a car off, except that if I put it into a ditch, I could walk away and put it down to experience. I didn't have to pay for a car that was wrecked then, you know. So that's what I've done for 30 years. And in that 30 years I've had 3 cars. I've had a Nissan Bluebird for 5 years. I had another Mercedes S320, another Mercedes 200 for 13 years. And I've had this car here. Good big boot on it and all, like a big trunk. I've had this car here for 7 years, and my total car cost ownership in that time has been about £10,000 or about $15,000 for 30 years driving, which is not a lot of money. This car cost me about $3,500, which is about £5,500, so about $5,500, and I bought it 7 years ago. So it didn't cost a lot of money. Now the downside is that it costs a lot of money to fuel. But what I think of then is, okay, do I pay £20,000 or what, $30,000 for a car that does 30 miles to the gallon or 40 miles to the gallon, or do I pay £3,000 for a big luxury car like this that does about average 20 miles to the gallon? And you know, there's a lot of petrol or gas between £3,000 and £20,000. You know, you can put a lot of gas into a car for that. So the penalty I pay for driving a big car like this is that I pay a lot for gas, but the upside is I get to drive a big car like this. So that's a choice I made, and it's a choice I like, you know. This car it's got everything, you know. It's got all, like, even the leather. The leather is pleated and stuff to make it look a bit different, and the walnut and all the rest of it. But I'll show you what the problem with this car is. Mechanically, this car is, I'm going to close this door here because it's getting a bit tight. Mechanically, this car is 100%. I'll just do a wee scoot round the inside of her while I'm turning it on. I'm going to have to go for the radio here because it's probably very loud. Okay, I got it. So, the only thing in this car does not have drinks holders. Well, it does. It has drinks holders in here, but they're absolutely useless. You know, they really are useless. But it's got all sorts of wee cubby holes in it for hiding stuff, you know, and your mirror above the driver. How do you? I don't even know how to open this. Ah, there it is. There's another way to open this, but I can't remember what I do. Ah, there's it there now. As you can see, it comes on with wee lights and all, so you can do your makeup, whatever you want to do, you know. But it is a lovely car, you know, and it's got this glass sunroof and all the rest of it, and then I pull this over in winter time to keep it warmer in the car. Double glazed windows, and there's one of the issues. Look at this window where it's all smoky here. What happened here was, during the heat in last summer, this car was parked in the sunshine all day, and one of the seals went in the double glazing. So it's going to cost like 500 quid to put a new window in this. When this car was new, 20 years ago, yeah, 20 years ago, this car was 1995 car. When it was new 20 years ago, it cost £42,000, which is about $70,000. The guy who had this car replaced it with another Mercedes, same spec and all, and it cost him £80,000 to replace it. 82,000 actually. What's that? 6, 8, 6, 1, 6, 4, about $140,000, okay? And I got a phone call a week later, and I was asked, will you sell this car back to the owner again, please? Because the car he bought is not as good as the car you bought off him. And I thought I could make a few £1,000s here very quickly. And then I thought, hold on, I will never be able to afford a car that costs $140,000 or £80,000, and I'm driving a car that's better than that, and it cost me £3,500. So I just kept it, you know. Now, as I say, I don't do big miles in this thing, but there's one of the big problems there. See these two lights? The traction control and ABS. If you take a car to the MOT centre here, the test centre, and a light is on in the dashboard, it fails the test immediately. Because what that light is saying, there is something wrong with this car. So it just fails. To get those two lights put off is going to cost me about £1,200 to £1,500. What's that, about $2,500 to $2,600 just to put those lights off. Because I need a new module for the control thing in the computer. And I could get one second hand, but if I get a second hand one, it's going to be 20 years old. So it's going to be no good. It's going to be the same as the one I've got, and that would cost me a couple of £100. And this car now is worth about £200 scrap value, if I even got that. Nobody wants it because it's so thirsty, and nobody will take it because of this here. There'll be no value in that, and the value of scrap has gone down. So my mate was saying to me last night, if you get £200 for this against another car, you'll be doing rightly. What's that? $300. So it's a big brute of a car for $300, and as you can see, it's all leather and everything, you know. I guess it's got all this stuff, and it's a really comfortable car. But that's the problem, these two lights. So this is one of the reasons why I'm changing, because this car is good until July. The test runs out in July, but after July, it has to be tested, and it'll fail the test because of those two lights, and it's going to cost too much to put them out. My mate had the same thing with his car. He had a big Honda V6 something or other. It was a thirsty thing. It was even more thirsty than this. And the light in his was going to cost £1,200 to put out. So his is in the scrapyard now. So that's one of the problems here with the testing. You can't have a light on the dashboard. So it's one of the other reasons why I'm going for new. I'm going to just open the hood here so you see it. Oh, the hood, the bonnet. So you see everything, you know. Because I know guys like that sort of thing too, you know. So that's a problem. A lot of these big old cars, they're great going cars, they're mechanically very sound, but then when the electronic stuff starts going on them, that's when you come up against problems, you know. There's enough of weight, that thing. So there you are, that's the inside. She's a straight 6, and as thirsty as goes with that. They need a new rocker cover cap, but I'm not going to bother with that because there's no point. Sure, I'm going to be selling the bloody thing anyway, so there's no point. But as I say, this thing has been ultra reliable. The only thing I've done is I put a new belt on there 7 years ago, and that was it. You can see the powder here, that's baby powder. because I put the baby powder on this belt to stop it squeaking. I was doing the wrong thing. I was putting oil on and it was making it squeak more. But I've discovered then a bit of baby powder or chalk dries it and stops it squeaking. But as I say, there's no point in putting a new belt on because I'm going to get rid of it anyway, and the belt's tight, it's still working, you know. So that's basically it, folks. So that's what you can get for, well, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, that's what I was able to get for £3,500, or about $5,500, and I've really enjoyed driving it. But it's got to the stage where, whoa, that was close. I thought Mrs. Mac was there. It's got to the stage where it's become too thirsty and it's going to cost too much to fix it. So that's why I'm looking at other cars. But I did say that somebody asked me my car buying philosophy, and basically it was buy big old cars and sacrifice fuel economy for comfort, because rather than spend £20,000 on a more fuel efficient car, I spent £3,000 and I made up the difference in petrol. But I never put that much petrol into a car, so it was still money in. It was still cheaper to pay a bit more for the petrol than to buy that car to save money, you know. But I said I would never buy another new car. I had a real disaster one time when I was young. I bought a Fiat 128 and it was just an awful car, worst car I ever had. I kept it for 16 months and got rid of it, and I bought a Mitsubishi on second hand, and I got a real good deal from the garage I bought the Fiat off, because I think they were a bit embarrassed too, you know. And I stayed with Mitsubishi for a while. Then I went to Mazda, then I went to Toyota, then I went to Nissan, then I went to Mercedes, and I've been with Mercedes for about 25 years now. So it's going to be a big step to leave them, because I like the Mercedes drive. I like the whole the way they build a car, but the new Mercedes aren't as good as the old ones. Any mechanics will tell you that. Those cars there, those were built by engineers. And then I think one of the big, Chrysler or Daimler, somebody took Mercedes over, and the accountants started building cars and cutting back. And that's why you don't have the same longevity in Mercedes now. My wife had an E200 coupe, and it only lasted 15 years. It was 15 years and it was done. My cars, the ones I've bought, the older ones have lasted. The last one I had was 25 when I took it to the dump, and that was 20. So, and you can see here that you're starting to get a bit of cancer now. It's getting a bit of whoops, where are we at? Getting a bit of cancer in around the wings and that. That's where I hit it in a gate the first day I got it. Didn't realise how big it was. So that was that. But that was my first knock in it, so I was happy enough. You know, I didn't care. That's the other thing. You buy old cars, you don't care if they get touched, you know. So there you are. So that's it. That's my car buying philosophy, and I'm gonna miss the other thing. You know, it's a lovely car, beautiful car to drive, but too expensive to run now. So I'm afraid common sense has to take over sometimes, you know. So there you are, folks. That's it. All the best now. Bye bye.